All right, so okay. So we have ended the section 4. Who can remind us again what section 4 was made up of? Can we still remember what we discussed in the whole of section 4? We have come all the way from section 1 towards section 4 or section 5. Good. Now, section 4 comprises of basic what? Linux, command, bash, and what? Python. Now, who can tell us the essence of learning those? Everything we learned in section 4, who can tell us why it's necessary to us as cyber security experts or someone who wants to go into ethical hacking? Why is the whole of that section 4 necessary? I think I have to start calling names. Mr. B, why is section 4 necessary for every ethical hacker? You need to know the basics so that when you enter into what? Ethical hacking proper, right? You will not be lost. Or let's say so that you will not be hacked. You are trying to hack someone else and they quickly hack you, right? Okay, so 10 over, if you have to score 1 over 10, that is 1 over 10, sir. And then Mr. Osas, why is the whole of section 4 necessary for every one of us that want to go into ethical hacking?
Kinds of the Linux language in which
You're almost getting it. Remain small. Just complete it, complete it, complete it. I'm waiting to hear that word after to operate. To operate the Linux. I told us that there are scripting languages that we use in navigating around what? Linux. Because we acknowledge from one of the sections that Linux is the what? Hacker itself. It's a hacking machine. So how will you be able to operate that machine? You need to understand the languages that are used to navigate what? Around it. So the whole of that is for us to know how to navigate around what? Linux. Because Linux use what? Scripting what? Languages. Linux is not a programming language. It's what? An operating system that needs these languages that we have been exposed to, Bash, Python, because some of it code. And remember when I started, I said Linux is command line based operating what? System. That is, for you to create directory, you write code, right? So the question is that which scripting language will be used to write what? Those Linux what? Command or tasks. Okay, so I just want us to know that there is a reason why we took our time to go through what? Session 4. Now, session 5, we are going to be looking at ways to hide your identity on the web. Ways to hide your identity. So I'm going to be exposing us to different ways. So at the end of the class, you'll be the one to determine or to decide which one you want to use. And as I take us through these different ways, we are going to be able to compare their strengths. But before that, hope you know that the journey of ethical hacking starts from what? Remaining anonymous. If you don't protect yourself, don't be surprised before you finish hacking the system, you have the word tracked. So remember that everything we are learning in this course is mimicking what? The ways of what? The black hat hackers, right? That is, we are only learning how they operate so that we can be used by organization to stop them, to know the loopholes, to know the vulnerability, and to know how to what? To block them as well. How the black hackers operates is what we are learning. The black hackers mindset. So what we are learning, for us to say, okay, we want to learn ways to hide your identity. In other words, we are learning how they usually hide their identity before launching any attack. So if you know that they hide their identity, then you know how to to attack them back. But when you don't know, then you will not know their direction. So what is the overview of this section? What do I intend to teach us? What we are expected to learn from this section 5? I think I need to make it bigger, right? So that let's try to start it. Let me make it big because we have to be writing. Better like this, right? So in this section, we will be briefly going over a few ways that you can hide your identity on the web and maintain your privacy as an ethical hacker. It's very important. There is no hacker that does not go through this process. So we are going to start by remaining anonymous, untraceable. So specifically, the whole of this section will be narrowed to, we'll be going over privacy and knowing your IP address. That is where the journey starts from. You need to know your IP address, because in one of the sections, I told us that IP address is an identity of every computer. And I told us that there is nowhere you have the same IP address for two or more devices. Every device is expected to have just one IP address. And where I further break it down by telling us that an IP address is just like your phone number. Just imagine somebody called your number and someone else is though it has happened in part of one of the country, which I will not mention its name. Sometimes when you don't use your SIM for a very long time, don't be surprised the next time you call it. Another person I don't want to mention the name of the country, but I don't think it's developed. Oga, I am not there. Please, everything I'm teaching here is just for educational purpose. Okay? Disclaimer. Don't want anybody to trace me. So what we are saying is that two different people are not expected to have the same phone number, right? So phone number is like the mobile IP address. But that does not mean that device, that mobile phone does not have IP address. So now we are also going to learn what we call the Tor browser. Tor browser. We are also going to look at that as one of the technology for hiding, for remaining anonymous. So to remain anonymous, we are going to look at Tor browser. We are also going to use another technology called Anonsoft. Then we're also going to learn how to use VPN, though it has a free setup, and then there are also pro version. I believe some of us must have known that before coming here, that you can pay for VPN, right? So there's free one and there is a pro version. And then we're also going to know public Wi-Fi versus home Wi-Fi. And then we're also going to learn virtual private server. Here you can also buy from a company called Digital Ocean. At least it costs you an average of what? $6 per what? Month. So this is going to be our, this is our objective, what we try to cover within this session 5. That's it, right? No writers. So why it is important to remain what? Private as an ethical hacker. Let's know some of the reasons why it is important. So you can as well snap, then later you transfer to your notes for us to move faster. Why is it important for us to remain anonymous? Number one, privacy can be defined as the state of condition, as a state or condition of being free from being observed or disturbed by other people. So for you to remain or to stay private, it means that what? You don't want other people to observe what you are doing. For example, now if you are using a browser to browse on a machine that is already configured to be anonymous, such a machine activities will not be observed. So even if that machine is used to hack someone's detail, it cannot be traced. So this is the way the black hat hacker behave. That is why you see that they are untraceable. We see EFC will not be able to trace them. The government will try their best, but they will not be able to trace them. Because sometimes they don't understand their ways. And they turn off their IP address. In fact, they will generate another IP address. So when you trace the IP address, at the end of the day, you find was the fake one. So you end up holding someone innocent. For our purpose, for us here in ethical hacking, why is it important for us to remain private? We may prefer for people to not be able to observe our actions or be able to identify us on the web. That might be one of the reasons. Another reason is that we are essentially mimicking exactly what an actual black hat hacker will be doing, so that we can find loopholes that can be exploited. That is the whole essence of this training. So we are not training anyone to be on ethical hacking, on heading hacking. So you are actually trained so that you can protect system. You can be exposing the secrets of these bad people to the company you are working for, so that they can be proactive, so that they can be ahead of them, so that their system will not be vulnerable or be exploited by these bad guys. That's exactly the reason why you are here for this program. The internet is a very public place by default. So we need to be aware of that. When we started this program, I told us that there are a lot of us that feel that we don't have anything on the internet. Therefore, there's no need for me to hire the service of cyber security experts. And I ended up telling us that every one of us, we are directly or indirectly naked on the internet. Almost everything we do are on the internet. The example I gave was your bank details. They are stored on the internet. They are in a server. Your BVN is the name they use in saving all your sensitive information. So if a hacker can break into such database, the person can exploit those information for bad purpose. The internet is a very public place by default. So you need to take a few steps to remain what? Anonymous. To remain anonymous. So disclaimer, anything that you learn from this section is purely for educational purpose and is meant to be used for ethical what? Hacking only. We do not advocate or approve of anyone utilizing these techniques to perform malicious action against any device or network, unless given what? Permission to do so prior. Finding, let's start with how do I find my IP address? It's part of the objective. Yes. How do I find my IP address? So we are going to look at one of the quickest way of looking or knowing your IP address. A quick and easy way to find your public IP address is to simply browse to Google and search with the quoted keyword, my IP address. My IP address. It's very simple. So once I go to a browser now and search, a multitude of tools are available for free, and you should see your address at the top of the result page of your search. So aside using the Google method, which is the fastest, there's another one. So I'm going to exit from this view so that I can show us how to quickly check that, and then allow us for a few minutes to replicate the same thing before I proceed. All right, so now let's quickly find out how to go about it on browser. So just open any of the browser you have, the Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, and simply type my IP address. Once you're on the internet, that will give you access to your public IP address. So if I type my IP address, so what is my IP address? Once I click, I will get that immediately. So this is my IP address. 197 does what? So this one is a public what? IP what? Address. Yes, just based on your location. These are different version now, different version of IP. All right, so let's quickly look at, before we go into the practical proper, let's quickly look at how here is just to give us a picture of how the VPN sample, the tunnel, the communication map Why is it that when you are using the VPN technology to remain anonymous, look at what we are having here. A virtual private network is a what? Connection method used to add security and what? Privacy to private and public what? Networks. For instance, like Wi-Fi hotspot and the internet. With a VPN, the user's initial IP address is replaced with what? One from the virtual private network provider. Okay, because I'll soon switch it. That's why I decided to say it. But let me just quickly do that so that it will enhance our writing speed. So with a VPN, like I was explaining, with a VPN, the user's initial IP address is replaced with one from the virtual private network provider. So the company that is selling this service to you, they are the one that on their own reconfigure the system what? IP address, such that in as much you are using their technology, that very computer on the internet will not display its original what? IP address. What other people will be seeing is the fake what? IP address. So this is what the bad guys does. They can go extra mile to purchase this what? VPN, no matter how expensive it is, just to remain anonymous. User can obtain an IP address from any gateway city. The VPN service provider, for instance, you may live in San Francisco, but with a VPN private network, you can appear to live in Nigeria or any other country. So that is it. So this is the diagrammatical representation of how the network is structured, how it's laid out. So you have the remote computer, you have what? The unsafe, you have the unsafe internet, you have the server VPN tunnel here, and then this is the private network. Now, these are the computers that are connected to that network. So any computer connected to the network here, automatically what? Because it must have gone through this, the IP address will have been remanufactured. So whatever these computers that are on this private network are transacting, their original IP address cannot be obtained. Because before it gets to this place, the VPN tunnel must have what? Replaced the IP address. Can I proceed? So let's quickly talk about the Tor browser. So I have already walked us through how many technologies now. The first one was what? Using what method? The Tor browser, right? I also mentioned what? Anonsoft, right? And then VPN. So now let's talk about the Tor browser. Let's start with the Tor browser. So what is a Tor browser? The Tor browser is a web browser that allows users to browse the web while preventing surveillance and what? Tracking. So anybody browsing with this browser, whatever you are doing there, you are automatically what? Anonymous. You cannot be traced and you cannot be tracked. Your IP address will not be available once you are browsing on top of this browser. So what these bad guys does is to install this browser. So all their transactions are done through these browsers. So they will not use the normal Google browser that you use. They will deliberately install this one because they understand that what is one of the dark web. So whatever that is happening here, people cannot see it. It achieves this by routing all your requests through 3 other nodes computers in the Tor ecosystem, effectively using them as proxies. Can we proceed now? When I was explaining one of the session, I think that was a network fundamental, right? Talk about network what? Process. What is network process or process? Because if you don't understand that word, it will be difficult for you to understand the note, the second note, where I say it achieved this by them as process. How will you be able to make the system to be what? Anonymous. So in case you have forgotten, I said an internet proxy, also known as proxy server, is a computer system or software that acts as intermediary between a device. So in other words, this Tor browser is coming in between. That's the reason why anybody browsing with this, his or her system is automatically what? Anonymous. So to download Tor browser, on your Kali, virtual machine, we're going to run some codes. So before I go there to deploy this code, let me preview some of this code because I have them in my slide. So that once I leave here, then we can go and verify that. So the first thing we are going to do, we are going to update and upgrade our Kali before even thinking of installing the Tor browser. So let's quickly write this code, because once I switch from here now, I will not be coming back here until we have completed the entire process. So let's quickly go and try that. So now let's quickly go for the code. Now I actually gave us these two options. There's a reason. How many of us know the difference between when you run sudo apt updates and when you run sudo apt -get? Both of them does not do the same thing. Hope you know that. They will both update your curly. This one will only update the existing installed program, while this one will update and get the ones that are not in. Why we are using sudo? Because if you run apt update or apt get update, it might work if you are on the administrator account. But if you are in the user account, that is where we normally put what? Sudo. Just to indicate that what? I am what? An admin. Most time it will ask you to enter what? Password, if truly you are what? The admin. So now let's quickly go to our Kali and demonstrate this code. So once we are done updating our Kali, we can now, move to installing the Tor browser. So in other words, there are some updates you need to get before the Tor browser can be successfully what? Installed. So the first thing I'm going to do is to, you observe, yes, you have copied the code now, but you observe first. Don't let, anyway, just try and see if you can follow at the same time. I don't think it's that long for you not to be able to follow. So I will just write what? Sudo updates, right? Sudo what? The first one, sudo apt, then updates. Update, that's the first thing. You run it, make sure now you can see it's asking for what? Password. Type your Kali password, and then you watch out for the update. So let's run that now. Let's run that. So I have to wait for every one of us to know. If your own is taking too much time, then I will just move on. Take your time to rectify that better. So it's trying to connect to the database. So you will see it running like this. So you can be getting the information with the downloading or the loading bar. So currently, okay, so you'll be getting subsequent information regard to what is going on. 21% updates are taking place. Warning. Yes. Okay. So we are going to enter debugging now first. You want to show what? Warning also, right? What is the warning all about? Fail to fetch what? Okay, so let's observe my own first. Let's finish. Then we'll debug together. We'll rectify what is the problem now. Because if you cannot rectify that, you cannot achieve this. 71%. See, is successfully what? My system is successfully updated. How many packages was he able to update? 75. packages can be what? Upgraded. That's why I said after you have updated, you what? You upgrade. So updating and upgrading is different. What is the second line of code to upgrade? Okay, so let me complete all the tasks before we enter the debugging aspect. So you just simply do what? Sudo apt upgrade. Sudo apt upgrade. Now you allow the upgrade. So you can see a lot of what? Upgrades. These are the list of items or command that can be upgraded. Now, and the size is what? 175. Now it's asking you space needed. It's just like when you want to install an app and the system is telling that, okay, for this app to be installed, you must have what? So space. Then once you are sure that you have that space, you give what? The consent. That's why it's asking you, do you want to continue or you don't have that amount of space? I have it. I'll say what? And then it will now start what? The upgrading. No, you can. No, there are a lot of things that can never be installed. You cannot work with. So I'll wait for the upgrade to be completed. So it's going to take some time. So in case you are having, this is how you are going to solve it. So which means that what? Your Kali is not the generated server URL is not accessing the internet or the Kali database. So once you start having all those kind of information like warning, information is not able to be fetched, or maybe failure to fetch, just know that what there are error that associated or associate with DNS issue. So the first thing we are going to run this configuration file. What is nano? What is nano? What is nano?
Nano is part of Python and
Nano is part of.
I don't know.
You must describe it, oh. Osas, what is nano? You cannot factor it out now. You only know nanomic. Mr. Edwin, what is nano? It is one of the text editor. We have V, right? V. I not here before. So it means that that place you have nano can be what? V or what? V. But we are using nano because I tell you what, nano is just like another advanced word text editor in Kali. So once you are done writing, let me know so that we can. That challenge. Go back to my mine is still upgrading. Hope it's not working. So I will wait for my upgrade to complete so that we can all follow it together. First that asks us to call out is the what? The important configuration that must have been installed. So we want to see the generated DNS server by typing that by typing sudo what is that? Sudo So let's type that. Once you type that, it will open a text editor like this. So you can see the IP address. Your own will not be this. What do you have there? Eh? You don't have this. You don't have anything like name server. Eh? Bring it. Let me confirm by myself. Are you sure you're on the internet?
No.
The code you wrote on my slide. Sudo nano / etc / resolve.conf. Is that what you wrote? There must be one of the generated DNS address there. The only thing that one is the one that is not working. What do you have there? What do you have? Can you see name server? Wait, look at the screen. Look at the screen. Are you seeing anything like this? It should come with one. Eh? Oh yeah, our time is going. You can't find it. Bring it for me. Are you on the internet? Let me type what you said sudo, have you? Okay. So your own did not generate anyone. So you come down and type name server 8.8.8.8. You type what? Name server. What's to type now? What is that? You type name server 8.8.8.8. Or if it does not work, I use 1.1.1. That is 4 of them. Now to save it, you press Ctrl+0. Then you press enter to commit it, Ctrl+S to come back. That is what I showed up before on the slide. Right? Now, if I want to go back there to know whether it's there, just do that word sudo and run it again to know whether it was committed. You can see that word is here now. Now, Ctrl+what? Ctrl+0, enter, Ctrl+S to leave. Now, normally, this is what you do. Anytime you want to run anything that has to do with update, you want to check whether there's internet. This internet might be for your base operating system, might not be for what? Kali. So you want to test Kali, you just go to any of these browsers, click on this. You don't need to waste your time next time before you even start running this. Just check. If it's not able to browse on Google, so that's what you are facing having what? The DNS issue. So just come here. If you use your normal Google Chrome to browse, I'm talking about the one from here. Yes, so let me just any site, let's say google.com. Don't know. Yeah. Okay, soft. You have left me for children. Is it soft touch? I want to click here, click here, click here. Is it not soft touch? Soft touch. So let's try that now. Do work now. This is where I want to click. Hello? Okay, sir. Yes. Uh, she have removing it now. She have removing it. See that out. Pull up. Yes. Also. Yes, sir. Yes. Have you saved it? Did you press Control Go? Enter and S to come out, right? Now, if you want to check, after you have typed it, you want to check, listen, please quickly come back again, quickly, because you are getting it faster here. Or, don't worry, go to your seat so that those that are recording for can see it. Go to your seat. I'll do it here now. Maybe I want to show you now. Go to your seat. Please be mindful. I don't know why. My system is hanging. Don't worry, I'll do it now.